Patrick Simpson, and you're listening to People for People Radio, the voice of truth in Scotland.
And welcome everybody. And somebody's breathing really heavy into the mic. That would be Luca.
We know who it is.
So, anyway, we are live. Anybody in the chat, if you can, give me a shout out and let me know that we're coming through okay. And we have a really awesome show today. And we have Bernadette here. And
Hi.
Hi. Lynn was supposed to be here too, but Lynn had she couldn't make it. She had some other things that she had to do. So, we have Bernadette here, and Bernadette has brought on, if you remember, back when we had Bernadette on before, we saw she posted, or you gave to Gaz, and Gaz posted the information about Karen Taylor, who had a son, I think it is, that was having seizures with the with an illness, and she was fighting to be able to get him treatment with CBD oil. And I think, if I read it right, you had to go out of state, or you were having to go out of country, or whatever. But we'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get into that here in a few minutes. I want to say hi to Barbara and Luca, and let everybody know that we're all here. The panel is here, and what I'm going to do is let everybody say hi, and then I think the best thing that we can do is let Bernadette start off and tell us what's going on. There are so many exciting things that are happening in her life right now. She's got some really good news from Scotland, and so we'll get her there, and then we'll talk with Karen after that. But anyone having any questions in the chat, please post them, and I'll give them to Karen or to Bernadette, whichever one you want them to go to, or both. It doesn't matter. But it's good to see you all here in the chat. Good to have you guys on. And Barb, it's going to be a really exciting show. It's going to be an awesome show. I'm excited. I've been so excited.
I know. I'm happy to be here too. Yes, so here I am. I'm Barbara Three Crow, and I'm sitting here on Turtle Island, different part of Turtle Island from Luca and Patty, way up here in the Hudson Valley along the great river, the Mahikani Tuck. And always happy to be here on peopleforpeople.ning.com. And I'm so excited to hear what's going on with you, Bernadette, and also, you know, what's happening around you and your son. And Karen, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very pleased that you're with us today, and I know people will really be looking forward to what you have to say. And yeah, so welcome everybody. Good to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for having us again, Patty and Barbara. Really good to you.
So wonderful. I mean, just a standing date whenever you want. Just join us. I love having you on. Your energy is just contagious. It makes me so happy.
Oh, thanks very much. Well, things have been going quite well here in Scotland. Myself and Karen and Lynn, we done an interview the other night there for an independent media company called Independence Live. So they're going to be putting that out. We're actually getting a date finalised for the third meeting in Holyrood, and we're looking at September 27th for that date. But before that, this was all Lynn's handiwork. Lynn was sitting out the back, sunbathing the other day there, and smoked a wee joint and had a light bulb moment. I don't know if you know, here in Scotland we're fighting for our independence quite badly. We're desperate for it. And there's a big campaign called Hope Over Fear, and they were the ones that fronted the independence campaign back in 2014. So they're the ones doing it again, and what this time is, they're doing it all under the one banner, which means all the independence organisations are all coming together and everybody's grouping together. And Nicola Sturgeon, our First Minister, has just called for us all to come together and start making our case for independence. So on the 16th of September, these guys are having a great big massive march through Glasgow, and it's shaping up to be the biggest yet, and we're talking tens of thousands of people here, and myself and Lynn are going to be guest speakers on the stage in George Square, Glasgow, addressing the whole of Glasgow and the whole of the thousands that are going to be there about medicinal cannabis. Not just medicinal cannabis, but also about recreational cannabis as well. So that's the big news. And then leading up to that, we're going to be doing 3 individual public meetings, where there's going to be myself, Lynn, hopefully a serving police officer, hopefully a serving politician, and a previous police officer on the panel. That's what we've got going so far. So they're going to be 3 days leading up to the big one in George Square for the big Independence March. So we'll get to speak to the whole of Scotland, because it's getting live streamed all over the world. And it's so exciting.
Wow.
We're all fit to burst.
Incredible.
We'd like to be able to live stream that too.
Oh, absolutely. I can get you soaked up with that, no problem at all. I think it starts from about 11 o'clock in the morning. The big march goes all the way through Glasgow, and then the march just all goes back to George Square, where there's been a few people. There's going to be politicians and things speaking up on stage. One of the previous health ministers of Scotland, Alex Neil, he's going to be on stage that day as well. And there's a few others still to be announced, but it's shaping up to be a very, very, very exciting day for the cannabis movement in Scotland.
Wonderful, wonderful. And what day is that again?
It's the 16th of September.
Is there any, do you have anything on a website or something that people can go to and get the information out?
Absolutely, I'll send it all over to you. In fact, I'll go and try and work out if I can see it just now. But yeah, so things here in Scotland are getting pretty exciting. We're going to try and challenge. There's a wee grey area here in Scotland just now that we're going to try and, have a wee poke at, because right now we're so close to it. So I believe that Nicola Sturgeon has got a heart. I believe she has. She's a politician, but the woman's got a heart. And I don't believe she wants to see the children in her country suffer anymore. So we've got a wee grey area just now where the UK is on the verge of making some sort of change, but nobody knows what. They're doing investigations, this, that and the next thing. So Nicola Sturgeon, what we're hoping for Nicola Sturgeon to do is just to go into this wee grey area and say, right, just wake up one morning and say, right, I've had enough. I'm going to allow the people of Scotland to get medicinal cannabis, and if the UK government want to do anything about it, then, they can see us in court, because we're nearly there. So that there's kind of a wee bit room for manoeuvre in here, and we're hoping that we can push the Scottish Government in the right direction. And hopefully this time we get the help from the authorities, from the Police Scotland, try to get everybody involved this time, rather than people putting up barriers, and none of this getting the substance misuse unit to deal with and try and get rid of us. Right, the days are all gone now. We're all taking this seriously now. Scotland need to be the leaders in this. We need to show the rest of the UK and how easy it can be done. Because right now, Theresa May is holding on to it with this, oh God, she's gripping on it, it's so tight. She's still, tapping out that cannabis has no medicinal value in its raw form. They're still protecting the pharmaceutical industry, GW Pharmaceuticals in Scotland just now, in the UK just now. So, and the only way they're talking about doing is moving it to a Schedule 2. If they move it to a Schedule 2, all that's doing is putting it in the hands of the pharmaceutical industry and nobody else. Exactly. So here in Scotland, we're trying to make that difference so that people can have their own choice. And the campaign is called the Right to Choose Medicinal Cannabis Programme of Scotland, and that's what we're pushing. And we've already presented a model of how we would like it to be. Obviously, we're not going to get what we want, but we've put it in writing and we've put it to them, and it's now logged as an official document in Holyrood that this is a possible road to take. So, yep, very exciting here in Scotland. So coming up over August, September, that's going to be a really, really busy time for us. Really exciting time. I don't think I've ever seen such an exciting look ahead. It's just I can feel it moving now. I can feel it in my bones. There's change happening now. Just not quick enough for some of us. That's the only problem.
Right. And we do have Luca here. I know you.
Yes, I was just going to say that for the empaths, we're going to be feeling a lot of change coming. For the people that are really sensitive, they feel the energy. I couldn't believe how strong they were last night for me, and how things are changing around. And I just want to congratulate you in Scotland for being the flagship for these kind of things, because unfortunately the world is so afraid of change that nobody wants to be the first one. But as soon as you get the first one in, it snowballs.
Yes.
And this is what we're...
If Scotland do that, then the rest of the UK would have to follow and no ifs, buts or noses about it. They would have to, or there would be hell to pay, because they couldn't allow the Scottish to get it and not allow Wales, England and Ireland to get it. So if we can set a precedent here in Scotland, then it's just, that's the way everybody has to go. So we're looking to their Scottish government right now. And, you know, they're starting to be really brave again here in Scotland. For a while there, I didn't really have anything good to say about the SNP as a party or a government. But over the past couple of weeks, you'll have all have seen, because it was broadcast around the world, how the SNP party, the MPs all got up and walked out of Westminster. Because of the complete disregard and disrespect that the UK politicians were showing towards Scotland. And basically they voted through, even though against the wishes of the Scottish Parliament, that they can come in and take control of our powers, devolved powers that we are meant to have for the next 7 years. And that includes our National Health Service. It includes everything. And the whole of the Scottish Parliament, apart from the sitting Tory MSPs, voted against allowing the UK government to do this. So this isn't an SNP thing. This is a Scotland thing. Excellent. And in the space of 15 minutes, that's all it was allocated to discuss this down in Westminster. And in the space of 15 minutes, not one Scottish politician got to speak. And it was voted through by the Welsh, by the English, and by the Northern Irish that Scotland's powers gets took out of its hands and Scotland never gets a say in the matter.
Wow.
It's awful. Absolutely. It's criminal. There's a big court case coming up on, I think it's the 25th or the 26th of July, to determine whether, I think this is going, is it the Supreme Court in the UK it's going to? And it's, no matter what the outcome of it, Scotland win. Because if the Supreme Court side with the UK government and decide that the UK government can strip all, I mean, basically they're just totally destroying the whole Scotland Act. They're totally destroying our whole devolution. We've had devolution for 20 years now, and they've just went in and stopped it and decided that they're taking it back against the will of the Scottish people. So it's going to court, it's going to the Supreme Court, but if the Supreme Courts decide with the UK government and abolish the Scotland Act and take all their powers, then the Act of the Union is then broken, and then the Scottish government could then take it to a European court and get it absolved. Now, if they find in favour of the Scottish government, and they find that the UK government can't just go in and take all these devolved powers without the will and the express will of the Scottish people and the Scottish government, then that's going to really, really absolutely put the Brexit negotiations on their backsides. Not that they're already on their backsides, because they're completely, I don't want to swear here, but they're on their behinds with this one. And if the court finds that they cannot take the Scottish power, because at the end of the day they need Scotland, everything that's in Scotland they want to sell it off. This is the whole Brexit negotiations. Scotland's healthcare, Scotland's food and drinks industry, Scotland's renewable energies, Scotland's oil, everything is worth.
Globalism.
That's it.
Yeah, they're all corrupt.
They have nothing. And there's some people in the UK still believe to this day that England subsidised Scotland. And I used to get dead angry at it. Now I just laugh at it. Because I keep saying to them, right, well, come back and tell us what you actually have then that's not Scottish. I mean, see the minute even our exports, the minute it drives over the border into England, it then becomes an English export. It doesn't get registered as a Scottish export. They even take all our exports and claim it as their own. So if we were to hold all of this back for them, they have got nothing to bargain with. Because she's sitting ready to sell her NHS right off to Donald Trump for that, you know, and he's sitting rubbing his hands. He can't wait for it to happen.
Yeah.
See, there's pushback all over the world now. The people are starting to push back. I think that this globalism has come to a point to where we can clearly see the line in the sand now, and more people are nationalism is a two-edged sword in itself, but it brings us to a point of power for the people, and this is the wonderful thing that is happening, is that the people are starting to utilize their power, and the UK is in trouble. The union is in terrible trouble right now, and I've seen a lot of things. Merkel is floundering now. She's just keeping her head above water. Yeah. Yeah,
her coat's on a sugar nail. And then you have to look across the water here in the UK, well, what we call the UK, towards Ireland as well. Now, as you know, the troubles that I don't know if any of you know about the troubles in Ireland, and it was segregated into the north, where the north kept with the UK, and the south of Ireland became independent, and now they're part of Europe. There's been people in Ireland fighting since the day that happened for a unification of Ireland again, and that's even getting closer now as well. Because the people at Ireland are sick of it. The people at Northern Ireland are absolutely sick of getting dragged out of the European Union. They don't want to be dragged out. There's a lot of people, their jobs depend on it. They've never had a hard border in Ireland since, the segregation. Obviously they've got a border, but it's not really man-patrolled as like that. Right. But what they're talking about doing is it's looking like they're going to have to be a hard border between Ireland and Northern Ireland. And that's not right, because there's a whole peace process in there, the Good Friday Agreement, and that's now getting scuppered because of all of this as well. The Tories and what they're doing, because you've got the DUP propping up the Tories down in Westminster. So they're creating trouble everywhere, and they're sinking, and they know it. And right now, the party that's running it all, oh goodness gracious, what can you say about them? I mean, you've got Theresa Mayhem, and you've got that Boris Johnson, and I mean, every time that man opens his mouth, something comes out, and when you think that there's nothing else that this man could say that would shock you, then he goes and opens his mouth the next day, and he's offending people all over the world, and he really just doesn't care. But at the end of the day, they're going to have the UK they want it to be. It's going to be the wee tax haven for all their rich friends. This all came about the minute they announced that the European Union announced that they were going to cut down on tax evasions and things like that, and all of a sudden they all wanted out of Europe, because they're all involved in their tax evasions, and they would all get bloody caught at it. So this is where England's sinking, and they're taking Wales down along with it. But Scotland and Ireland, I believe, are going to survive it. But Wales, God love them, they're getting dragged down along with them as well. And unless they start standing up for themselves, then that's exactly what's going to happen to them, because they're going to be left on their own with nobody.
Right. The thing about Scotland that I have known is that you keep your history current. You don't forget. You're very up on exactly how your country came to be and who your people are, and that's strength. And we've got the UN, which is now in a lot of trouble because they've had the bulk of their money taken away from them. So they are going after it. They're going to find it from somewhere, and they're going after everyone. The problem
because of President Trump.
Right. Yeah. But the problem here stems from the fact that, like we were talking about, the people see the line in the sand now. They're actually living what they see this future coming to, and they've had enough. And the people with the power, the only real power, are starting to stand up and push back, and it's across the globe. I mean, we're seeing this in everywhere that you go, and it crosses all types of political lines and governmental lines. It's the people saying enough, and this
We've
is
had
brilliant
enough.
to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to add that in June 8th, that President Trump appeared to break his own administration's policy, saying that he was likely to support a legislative proposal to leave the decision to states about whether to legalize marijuana or not.
Right.
So he most likely will do that, because he's been turning around and doing strange things all along. So he most likely will do that.
He follow through on that one?
He says he's looking at it, he said, but I probably will end up supporting it. It basically goes against, Sessions, who they're kind of like doing this dance, but I don't know, I just don't understand why Sessions or why anyone is so adamantly against Well, anything that can help people. I mean, I know there's an answer to this, but you have these
of course.
people in position, and we know the answer, but it's just very amazing and extraordinary to me, supposing it was one of their loved ones. You know.
Oh, those people's loved ones always get what they want.
Well,
Rockefeller's entire family and staff were taking all the medicinal, the medical entities that we weren't allowed to have. All the
so you think they
naturopathic.
were taking? You think so? Okay.
Absolutely.
That's possible. I'm sure that's very possible.
I'm sure
knowing
their health care does not resemble ours in the
I'm
Exactly.
sure. I'm
Exactly.
sure. And their water either, or their food.
Yes.
Oh no.
And the air they breathe. I don't know.
I just want to say also that the people in Scotland, I mean, what I'm hearing sounds like an echo of what's going on here with the original people, with the minorities, with the people that have their feet in the earth, with the people that care, because it came out of your guest's own mouth. They don't care. And people don't realize how true that is. They don't care. They're trying to eliminate us by disease or just getting rid of us. What was it today? They said that they finally have a link with Hillary and the CIA with the death of JFK Jr. And I'm like, well, you guys you're pretty slow at figuring that one out, aren't you?
The rest is already knew that.
This is like
this is what's happening, though. We know that we are in this time of change. We are in the apocalypse, and the apocalypse means the taking away of the veil.
Yeah, the prophecies.
Yeah.
Unfolding
and so,
are extraordinary.
All coming tumbling down on them.
That's right. That's right. The truth always rises to the top. You can bury it, but it will work its way to the top. It can't be hidden. And this is why I am so excited about this time. I mean, there are bad things going on, but I am witnessing what has never been before seen, a global community of individuals who are taking back their power and standing together against this system that has wreaked havoc on everyone's lives for centuries. But I want to get back to you, and before you go back in, I wanted to ask you how Lynn is doing. Is she still doing really good?
Yeah, she's doing absolutely fantastic. Keep myself busy. She's just, I can't believe, the light bulb. She keeps saying to me, I don't know what I bring to the table, and I keep saying to her, you bring your experience to the table, you bring everything else to the table, you bring your compassion, you bring the fact that you can talk to people, and she's just been feeling a wee bit, what do I actually do? And then she's pulled off this thing for us to go to this is an opportunity that she's scored goal of the season, I keep telling her, because I've been campaigning for this for years now and never been able to pull off anything like that. And she was sitting out the back sunbathing, and she just said a wee light bulb moment out there, so she's doing absolutely fantastic. She sends her apologies that she couldn't be here tonight, but she's kept really busy just now as well. And she's still every day getting the phone calls, the text messages, the Facebook messages from people desperate all over the world, begging and pleading for her help. And it's not physically possible for her to help all these people, so that's still, she's still got that to contend with every day as well, so that's pretty hard for her. But herself, she's doing great. She's looking absolutely fabulous now. We were overseeing her the other night there, and she was just stunning looking, sitting all nice and sun-kissed with the hair all down and her wee dress on, and she just looked lovely.
Oh, wonderful. I want to read out a couple of things in the chat here for you. One of them from Sting says, the Scots are prophesied to be the catalyst for the change that is coming soon all around the world. And Gaz says he's aware the prophecies Scotland is intrinsic not only on the change that approaches, but historically as well, biblically. And then he says, much love to Lynn. But he's right. Boy, you need to back off from the mic again, Luca.
No, that's the guy outside mowing the lawn. I have to shut my mic off.
But anyway,
but fact, I was on Radio Scotland the other morning there, and I was arguing with a resident doctor. And obviously they hadn't switched his microphone off either, and he was huffing and puffing away at me, and you could hear everything he'd done it to me.
Well, I'm sure you're raising a lot of people's blood pressure.
Oh yes, that's for sure. We definitely are.
Sleepless nights and bad dreams and high blood pressure.
Not for me, for everybody else.
For everyone else, yeah, that's what I mean.
The ones that should be having the sleepless nights and the high blood pressure. The ones that are sitting back too long while we suffered.
Exactly, but I tell you, it's not just me now. Karen that's about to come on as well. She's rattled a few pages in the short time that she's been doing it as well, let me tell you.
That's wonderful. Karen.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
You have a beautiful voice. I love your voice.
Oh, thank you.
And I know that you must have been, there's nothing like a mother having to watch her child become ill and have seizures and know that there is something you can do for them, but you are prevented from doing. I can't imagine what you've been through just trying to give your son relief to cure the seizures. I can't imagine. I really can't. We have so many children here in the U.S. who suffer, who have been treated for autism, for for seizures, and I think even for diabetes, who have responded remarkably to CBD oil, and they have had to fight their way through it. Of course, here we can go just right across the state line to Mexico, or through Rick Simpson's hard work and dedication, they can produce their own. But I know that it's been a struggle for you, and I'll just let you take it from there.
Okay, my son Murray, he's 5, and he started having seizures a few years ago, but maybe 3 a year. Then the following year he had 6 in the year, and then last year he had 12 up till December. Then it had 12 in December. Then he started having 12 a day from January. So then he got put on medication after medication after medication. Nothing was working. He was given steroids, and over the course of 3 months he put on 2 stone in weight. And he's 5. I mean, 2 stone in weight to me would be massive, but to a 5-year-old it was he just wasn't the same wee boy anymore. The steroids did nothing. They put him on ketamine for 5 days as well, which is a horse tranquilizer, and that did nothing to help his seizures either. He's got a rare form of epilepsy. It's called Douce syndrome, that's what the Americans call it, or it's called myoclonic static epilepsy. Yeah, so I started researching medical cannabis, obviously, back in January, and realised how much this could benefit him, and it has benefited other children across the world with Douce syndrome. So I started campaigning here. I think I've got about 230,000 signatures on my petition, which has already been taken down to the Home Office down in England, and they haven't done anything about it yet. So obviously with everything that's gone on over here, the government set up a new guideline and an application form to get a licence for medical cannabis. However, whenever you read the licence, it's got to be filled out by your clinician. And there's no clinicians over here that have prescribed medical cannabis. They don't know how to dose it or anything. So the government are actually, laying it on the clinician's head. So it's really up to them if they get a licence for it, and it's just not very good. Basically, what it means is, unless you've already been illegally taking medical cannabis, there's no way your clinician is going to help you get a licence for this. There's just no way. And it's quite annoying. So I'm basically taking my son over to Holland, along with another couple of mums and their boys who've got Douce syndrome as well. And we're going over there. We started fundraising to pay for it, to basically get them help over in Holland so that they can be put on the medical cannabis, and then we will basically let our clinicians know, look, you have to apply for this licence, because we are just not coming back until we've got a licence, because we don't want to walk through customs and get arrested with our basically our children's medicine.
Right, that's a travesty. It's unbelievable that they would allow children to suffer because of a law on a plant. I mean,
I know. It's a plant,
amazing.
and the thing is, like, you've got morphine. They use heroin. They use heroin over here for diamorphine, and they give that to children when they come out operations. And I think, do you know what I think really gets me the most is the fact that obviously we've got GW Pharmaceuticals over here, and they produce Epidiolex, which is treated for seizures. It's not as strong as the stuff I want for Murray. I don't think that it's strong enough to stop the seizures, but it's definitely got a 40% success rate. But we can't access that. And what makes it worse is that the government say that cannabis is not medicinal, but they are basically profiting of it because it's Theresa May's husband has shares in that company, and also our drugs minister here, her husband is the only one in the country that's got the licence to grow 23 football fields full of cannabis for medical use that obviously people in the UK can't get. So they're total hypocrites. That's what makes it worse.
Right.
And that's exactly the way it is here. Exactly the way it is here. They're gorging themselves on everything that is illegal for us. It's exactly the same thing. They're all making money from the poppies in Afghanistan and in Pakistan. Big pharma's making the money. They started the drug wars in the West, in my country here. And by the way, when we talk about how horrific it is to do that to kids, let me just remind you, in Scotland, like you might not hear very often, that the FBI and the CIA were the people that deliberately placed explosives in the daycare in Oklahoma City for the Oklahoma City bombing in 1996. They deliberately placed the explosives in the daycare to maximize trauma. Okay, so that's how they think. The FBI is directly responsible for most of the terror attacks in the United States that you see, and then we can name and like the great grandmothers are saying today. The veil is being lifted. People are starting to see the line in the sand. It's exactly what's going on, and people like you really deserve to have our, your, how do they say that? Take your hat off for you, because it's tip of the hat. There you go. Because you're doing what most people don't dare to do, and it's kicking Goliath, and I find that remarkable. So I'll shut up now and turn my mic off because the lawnmower is coming back.
Well, Karen, I do have a question. Where in Scotland are you from?
I'm in Edinburgh.
Ah, so Gaz was right. He was right. They were trying to figure out where you were from. Okay, moving on. When you go to get these treatments for your son in Holland, how soon and what is if you have to go back periodically because the effects will wear off. Is there no way that this could possibly cure his ailment?
Basically, nothing can cure epilepsy. Nothing can cure it, but medical cannabis is proven to stop the seizures. So you're not really curing anything. You're just sort of taking a medicine to stop the seizures happening. And I mean, he could grow out of it. We don't know. But that's the whole point. It's just to basically stop these seizures that he's having. And the same with the other two boys, because they're just suffering every day. If it's, it's just awful for them.
Well, how long does it last before you have to go back?
Right. One bottle lasts 40 days, right? So what we're planning to do is getting 3 bottles, basically, okay? And we want to stay over there as long as possible until our clinicians write the licence and it's granted, so that we can come back with our bottles of medicine with our sons and we can walk through customs and go home with them and not get arrested and not have the medicine taken off us.
Right. Yeah. And I can't believe that the courts deny this, that the courts would even consider denying this. There is so much evidence to prove that it is effective. Pharmaceutical companies are now trying to position themselves to be able to provide this.
Yeah.
And yet the courts are saying, no, it doesn't have any medicinal properties.
See, it's just Patty, outdated laws. they need to change the laws. As soon as they change the laws, it'll be fine. It's just the outdated laws that they're sticking their guns to, and it's just, it just needs to change, and it will change. But for me, I need it changed right now. Not in a year's time.
Okay, I have a question. Hold on just a sec. I have a question from chat. There's no active THC in CBD oil. Karen, can Karen clarify what oil we are talking about?
Yeah, I'm planning to get Bedrolite from Bedrocan in Holland, and that's got 9% CBD and 1% THC. Because there's awful stigma surrounding THC. I know that obviously it can cure cancer, it can shrink tumours and everything, but on a child, I'm very wary of it. So Bedrolite is the one that they suggest you try on them first, just to see if it does help, and if not, then then we talk about the THC levels. But no, the stuff I'm on has got 1% THC.
See, what mine has is 0.00 something THC, because my healer gets it from the Native Americans in Michigan that prey on it when they grow it. Then my healer gets it, and she makes it her own. So she doesn't have any THC whatsoever. You can take yours and go right in and get a blood test, and it won't even show up. And she told me in a 2-hour phone call that there's a big difference between what we call medicinal cannabis and the stuff that she makes herself for the people to treat them. And the people are going to get completely confused and brainwashed in that again, because government's going to now take over and say that big pharma can do everything that they want for medical cannabis, and they're just going to sicken us with that too. So we have to be careful.
As well, here in Scotland as well, where parents like Karen struggle, their doctors are not even allowed to monitor the kids, even if they take CBD with no THC in it. So with a kid with Murray's complexities, because his epilepsy is so rare and things like that as well, Karen has got the problem where she could have took Murray and medicated him herself, but she wouldn't be doing it under the doctor's watchful eye, because the doctors would refuse to do it.
They refused,
she's also been fighting to try and get the doctors to be allowed to monitor Murray if she was to give him CBD, and she's been up against that as well.
Not only that, we could have social services here called on us and our children taken off us for giving them an unlicensed drug.
Mm-hmm. I have a question here. I've just found this link. I don't know if you know about this or not. I popped it into this.
Yeah, I know about it, yeah.
About Billy Caldwell?
Yeah, I know about it, yeah.
Okay, so you're laughing.
I'm just going to let Karen on. You go, Karen.
No, I know, yeah. Billy Caldwell's got severe epilepsy, and he was being given the CBD and THC or THCA. I'm quite confused as to whether it's THC.
Well, it says CBC. CBD is what he was taking.
No, he was taking more. He was taking CBD and THC or THCA. I'm a bit confused as to which it is, because I thought he was taking THCA, but then it got stopped. But now he's taking THC. So anyway, that's irrelevant. The fact is that he came over. Obviously, his mum needed to get him out. She came over. She got it taken off her by the Home Office at Customs, and he ended up having seizures because he wasn't on it. And then the Home Office, gave him it back, and he was in hospital receiving it, and he never had, whenever he takes it, he doesn't have a seizure, which proves to me that it does work. And and I believe now that they're going to be allowed home from London back to Ireland with the medication. But it's shocking that they know that this wee boy had to get put through that. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Oh yeah, well here this actually was September here, so. It's apparently it's called intractable epilepsy, which means he cannot get help through any medication or diet, right? He began his treatment with cannabis oil in the United States in 2016, and then his prescription was transferred to his local GP in Northern Ireland. He says here became the first person to receive a prescription for medical marijuana in the UK. And he says the medicine, which contains a compound found in cannabis plant called CBD, does not contain synthetic chemicals. He had 100 seizures per day, but he has not had a single seizure now for 300 days.
That's correct.
There was a bit of confusion over what Billy was taking and what Billy wasn't taking.
Okay.
There's a lot behind the story of Billy. I mean, the bottom line is there's a sick child there needing help.
Oh, wait. Well, wait a second, because here there's more to this. This may be what you're talking about. It says he also takes a compound called THCA, which is illegal in the UK due to its links with the psychoactive effects of cannabis. Right, so maybe that's...
No, there was... Charlotte, his mum, started selling a CBD oil called Billy's Bud.
Yes.
And she was telling people that that's what Billy was taking to, help his seizures and things. So a lot of mums with sick kids were buying this oil, and it turns out that wasn't what Billy was taking. He was taking something else, and then he was taking something else. So nobody actually knew at the time what Billy was actually taking. And, there's a lot behind the people that are fronting that campaign as well. With their links to the pharmaceutical industry and things like that. I mean, the bottom line is there's a wee sick child there, but there's a lot of people making money off him. And
yeah, it's the same thing in the U.S.
So people
and
are
in Canada.
Basically, they'll look anything that they could make money off if they'll glom onto and manipulate the circumstances and everything. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it, I think, and I think there is still a lot more still to come out. But it was very confusing at the time because they were selling this CBD oil for around, I think it was £500. It was quoted in the newspaper, and Billy's mum was the director of the company, and there were parents buying the oil thinking it was the oil that Billy was on, because that's what they were claiming, but it wasn't. So there's a lot of questions that people are asking that they're not getting answers to, and there's a couple of people in the campaign that they're doing. They're not very desirable people. They've got strong links to Tildy.
It's people like this and things that happen like this that ruin it for other people, right?
Yep. So, at the end of the day, there's a sick wee boy there that needs his medicine. Let's not forget that, because he's getting help now. That's the main thing.
Right.
But there's loads of other sick kids that all need it. They're needing to they can't just change it for one wee boy. It has to be for them all. And this whole process that they're bringing in, the licensing process, that's just, I mean, there's not going to be a rush of doctors to go and queue up for these licenses, because basically in the small print, the doctors have to take the responsibility personally for these medications and anything that could go wrong with them. It's not in the hands of the pharmaceutical industry or the company that makes them. The doctors have to assume all responsibility for anything that goes wrong with this medication that they prescribe. The minute they apply for that license and get the license, the doctor then has to put their career on the line. They have to put everything that they've worked for.
Yeah.
So I don't see a rush of doctors running to queue up for a license for this. So how many children are actually going to get this license?
Right. I have a comment from chat. It says, and this is to Karen in reference to the THC and giving it to the child. Woman's breast milk contains THC levels. Breast milk is packed full of THC. I wouldn't imagine the child Murray would be adversely affected. In fact, his body may lap it up. It's hard.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's hard to know the full effects because the information is not freely out there. That's why it's important to have you guys on here and to get the word out.
That's why they tell them breast is best, because breast milk is full of natural cannabinoids. Well, they're endocannabinoids that the body makes naturally.
Right.
And they mimic THC, CBD, and all these things. When the baby gets breastfed, breast is best because it settles the baby gets an appetite, it eats great, and basically the baby's getting stoned. So it sleeps great, it eats properly, and pretty much it's getting stoned off its mommy's cannabinoids.
Can we just remember something that happened in the United States very quickly? The CDC said, okay, brand new mothers, we'd like to ask you, before breastfeeding, wait until the vaccines have had their main effect, their big effect. Then you can breastfeed.
Yeah.
Why do you think they would say that? Right?
That's a big red flag, isn't it?
System before it gets the breast milk, because the breast milk.
Because they know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why there's been a
further. Yeah. They've even gone further than that. I've seen articles that state that breast milk is not as good as people think it is, and that women shouldn't breastfeed their children.
Well, women are still being shamed for breastfeeding. You know, I mean,
women do before all these pharmaceutical companies come in with all their products. How did they feed their babies then? I mean, what were women doing for all these years?
There's only for how many billions, millions, trillions of years, women or whatever have been breastfeeding, and I don't know what the problems were then, but it's the only nourishing substance available right off the get-go. You know, nature, it's Mother Nature. Just the same thing with cannabis is a plant from Creator. Peyote, ayahuasca, these are all sacred plant medicines in our tradition. They were revered as with a spirit within them to help the people, to heal the people. Creator gave us every medicine we ever needed out there, right outside, you know. I was sitting down at the reservation quite a few years ago on Greengrass, and an elder was sitting there next to me, and he pointed over to the field, and he said, you know, right in there, there's a whole bunch of plants that we use to heal cancers and other sicknesses. So the people know.
Well, the Bible, Gaz is put in here, then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be for your food. That's right. Everything we needed was given to us by the Creator.
In fact, we were just talking about that earlier on, Patty, weren't we? About there was an article in one of the British newspapers saying that Jesus, he created his miracles by using cannabis oil. A lot of his miracles were done by cannabis oil.
His miracles, yeah.
And a lot of people believe as well when the baby Jesus was born. I mean, I'm not really into religion. I was raised Catholic. I just don't like the Catholic religion at all. I believe that there is something, but you know, my beliefs are my beliefs, and I won't have a Catholic priest standing trying to drum them into me. But a lot of people believe that when the baby Jesus was born, it wasn't gold, frankincense, and myrrh was gifted. They believe it was cannabis, frankincense, and myrrh that it was gifted.
Well, we're all recovering Catholics here, so
I'm a recovering one as well. I'm still traumatized, well.
You're amongst friends.
Gaz says, let me tell you about the Catholic religion.
Yes, and the Magdalene laundries really started me on the trail in Europe, as the nuns did in Canada and the United States.
Oh, there's a YouTube video. A YouTube video I found. I'll have to look for it again. These nuns that are growing cannabis, and they wield guns to protect their crop, and they're radical nuns with their habits, and they're growing cannabis. They pray over it. They sing over it. You know, it's really quite amazing.
Well, sounds like a fun place. You know, it sounds worth a visit for sure. They do a lot of good work. They make loads of medicine and they help people, and you know, that's them doing God's work. Well, that's their idea of God's work. And who's anybody to tell them that they're wrong?
The authorities.
No.
That's probably why they surround it and protect it.
That's right. Nuns growing weed. I think I may have found it. I'll have to. Yeah, here we are. I'll pop it in the chat. It's quite wonderful.
Yeah,
weed growing nuns.
Yeah, in California, right?
There's another one here. It says these nuns sell $60,000 worth of weed every month.
You know, while the rest of us are all progressing, I mean, what's happening in Australia is just frightening. They're going backwards. There's a part, I can't even remember what part of Australia, was it West Australia? They've now announced that they're changing the laws and rules and regulations surrounding cannabis, and they're going to start jailing people for simple possession now. personal possession, you know, just enough for a couple of joints is going to get you the jail in Australia now.
Yeah.
Don't know what's happening there at all, because they seem to be, you know, their movement.
Well, they're
just
globalist. They are full-fledged ahead with this globalist agenda, is what we're seeing happening there. Yeah.
Right. I mean, for simple possession, for a simple joint, you could go to prison, and that's your life ruined. Absolutely ruined.
Yes, exactly.
Well, you know, they pass laws here called zero tolerance.
Right.
The thing that we have different here in the United States, I think, is that the states actually have the right to legalize marijuana and to do whatever they want with those laws. The only time the federal government has the right to intercede is when it crosses a state line, in other words, in commerce. As long as the state says it's okay, the federal government does not have a right to come in and supersede that state. However, these past administrations have failed to adhere to their own state laws and have allowed the federal agents in. I think that is all being halted now, and we are seeing more and more states now that are legalizing not only for medicinal use, but we have states that are now legalizing for recreational use. And here in Kansas, they just did pass a law where we can grow hemp, commercial hemp.
That's good.
Yeah, so things are changing, and it's like a big wave. You know, it starts out small, and as it moves, it builds and it builds and it builds. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. People are bringing the wave, you know.
We're due a visit from your glorious leader.
So they are.
Oh my God, the trouble that man is causing in this country just now, and he's not even here yet. Here in Scotland, nobody here in Scotland wants him. He's in for a hell of a protest when he comes to Scotland. But apparently it's going to cost £5 million to police him coming to Scotland. And none of the politicians want him here either, and they've made it perfectly clear about that. They don't want him here. And the UK government are refusing to pick up the bill for it. So the Scottish people are getting left to pay for this visit with Donald Trump that nobody wants. You know, see if we could ban him from the country, we would. But so we've got that lovely visit to look forward to. So that'll be another exciting thing. When's it happening, Karen?
I'm not sure. Request from the chat guys. They would like for you, Bernadette, and you, Karen, if you could join the site. That way they can keep up and keep in touch with what you're doing in Scotland. Okay, I'll send you guys the link, and you can join up. It's a wonderful family. Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Karen.
You're all right. No, don't worry about it.
So I wanted, you know, there's an interesting YouTube. Again, I just popped in. I'm finding some fascinating things. You know, it seems to be that all over the world, many countries are really struggling and fighting to get this legalized. In Serbia, the people there are experiencing arrests with people with illnesses. You are ill, and they arrest you as well as the family members because you are having this, you know, the cannabis oil. So these people are struggling there too. And in this video, the interviewer speaks to the Ministry of Health, who is strongly against legalization. Ministry of Health. It's quite ironic, isn't it? You know, and yet these people that, you know, are easily prescribing. You know,
Orwellian about that, is there?
Exactly. They'll prescribe you a pill that has such side effects that the side effects are more terrifying. You know,
I mean, exactly. The terrifying thing is that these people that are making these decisions, I mean, none of them have got any medical experience, never mind a medical degree. So But that goes for nothing as well, because at the end of the day, with these doctors, they're getting taught by the pharmaceutical industry. It's the pharmaceutical industry that teaches all these people in their universities, but the ones that are sitting in government with their suits on, they've probably never stepped foot in a hospital in their life. They've never been sick, because obviously they're all well looked after. So they don't know the hardships that an illness brings. I mean, I don't know when Cam sleeps.
Yeah.
I genuinely, I keep going back to this, because I genuinely can't work out when this poor woman sleeps. Because we Murray's up all night having seizures. Very, very rarely does he get a full sound night's sleep. And Cam's up all night with him having the seizures. And then she's got 2 other kids that obviously that have to look after. She's got the dog, she's got the house, she's got a husband.
Yeah, and I get my Friday nights. I can get up, honestly, and I can sleep basically with one eye open every other night of the week, as long as I get my Friday night, and then I can sleep sound on my Friday night, and that does me. You just live with it. You get used to it, you live with it. This is what it's like.
This
it's your whole life, and the other kids that it's affecting as well. I mean, Murray's brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? It can't be fun for them watching what their wee brother's going through. And
when Murray first started having seizures, his brother Dean was 10, and I remember him running outside the living room saying that Murray's ruining his life, because he was just so distraught at watching him having seizures. It was just absolutely horrendous.
Can you talk about if there is the fraud or corrupted, cannabis or the medicine, or is there a problem with that you are finding anywhere? Where people are selling it and it's not the full.
Scamming, absolutely. Absolutely. That's really rife just now. In fact, I seen a post the other day there. A guy in the UK. Well, he's not in the UK. Well, sometimes he is and sometimes he's not. But that's besides the point. He does a lot of work and he helps a lot of children, and he's fighting for full cannabis legislation also, for everybody to be able to grow their own, not just for kids but for everybody. And there was a post today that he's actually getting death threats from these scammers, telling them that they've never made as much money in their whole entire life, and he had to back off to stop trying to get it legalised, because the minute it's regulated, obviously they'll all get put out of business. So the people that are trying to campaign to push this through are now getting death threats from these scammers that are selling out fake cannabis oil. And people are spending thousands and thousands with these people, and sometimes they're just getting a fake product like a wee bit of olive oil or something like that, but sometimes they're getting a dangerous product. Things haven't been done properly. There's the alcohol or whatever solvent's been used has not been took out it properly, and all these things could add up, and it is dangerous. But these people are making so much money, they don't want legislation.
Wow. That's why you have to be careful where you get it, and that's why I feel really blessed for having, first it was a friend in Australia, and then we realized we kind of lived too far from that, so she gave me her contact in Michigan, and then it bounced back and forth, so I'm very fortunate that way, because I know who makes it, and she prays for it. She prays for me. So it's wonderful, And
mine's a group we love. I sing to them, and I talk to them, and I play the music.
The only way to combat this would be to saturate the world with the real information, to point this out, because as long as they are kept kind of on the fringe, people will not be aware. Once people are aware and they know that this is a counterfeit CBD oil that offers me no
health
benefit, then they will definitely shun those places. But if they don't know, they're going to go and they're going to purchase this CBD oil. They're going to go home. They're going to treat themselves. Nothing's going to happen. And then we have a divide of a way of diversion, and of course this sounds just like what the agenda would do, what the controllers would do. So the only way to combat this is how we combat everything else. We just keep putting the news out there, and we let people know. There is a correct oil, one that is medicinal, many others that are being sold on the market now. Here, research this. Make sure that this product includes this and is processed in this way. So, and then let them know that if you do purchase these oil and they don't do anything, it's because you bought a corrupted or a scam. You bought into a scam. And people will educate each other,
You know, you're absolutely right. What you just said. The ones that are trying to mess with everybody and keep these medicines from us would say, yeah, let this be, illegal, so that they all, people will take the wrong stuff, or people will scam them and they won't get healed, and there'll be a controversy. Just let them, let the people do what they want to do.
Yeah, there was a story actually in the paper here recently of a child that had, I think she had brain cancer or something, and the parents were obviously spent thousands and thousands of pounds buying her this oil that was completely fake and didn't help her at all. I mean, that's just absolutely disgusting.
It is.
It is. It's absolutely shocking.
I have a request from the chat. We have some people from the U.S. That would like for you to slow down your speech a little bit.
Is there a way that you can do this with subtitles? Because sometimes it would be handy for people for it present us with subtitles. And when we talk to one another, we get even quicker. And we sound more Scottish.
The film Trainspotting, I remember that having subtitles on it, and us all watching it going, why is there subtitles? Why is there subtitles in it? That's why. Nobody understands what we say.
The more excited I get, the quicker I speak.
Yeah.
Well, I was like that when I first started doing radio with the Scottish people, and I was like, what'd they say? What? But it's been years now, so I'm pretty well up on being able and to be able to understand, and Barb is too. But the people in the chat are like, I can't understand.
I have to say that I had to really focus. It's a way that we need to learn to listen when people speak, because I think a lot of times we have conversations with each other where we're hearing and we don't hear half, even if you're speaking English. Our minds, our brains kind of like are doing other things, or we're distracted and we don't even know it. We think we're listening, or even reading a book. You think you're reading the book, but your mind is doing something else and you don't even remember what you read. So it's sort of learning how to really slow down and listen and focus on your words. I mean, that's at least my process that I had to start doing when I was like spinning. What on earth are they talking about? I can't have a conversation because I don't even know how to respond. So yeah, it takes a little.
There's a keyword, slow down. And I mean slow down. People can't sit in their chair for 5 minutes without doing anything. And it was funny because we had a power outage. And for 2 hours, you sit there in the chair and you're going, wow, no fridge, no food, no cellular, no lights, no computer. Whoa, how many people can handle that? For 2 hours. Imagine that could be a really good movie to make with a dysfunctional couple, and that would happen to them, and they're stuck together.
Well, spirit works in strange ways,
yes,
Luca, right?
Yes. And I really want to stress that too, because I think that's how spirit protects itself from people that will not appreciate it because they won't get it. If they don't, it's like love. If you don't respect love, if you don't look for it, if you don't cherish it, you don't take care of it, you will not get it. So I think it's a perfect world that Spirit has made, and people that are looking for their own heart, that are looking for direction, they will find it. And that's why we're so proud of you and to have you on People for People.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That was nice.
Well, there is... Okay.
Sorry. We've only got like an hour left, and I want to make sure that we get as much information from Karen and Bernadette as we can. I have a comment here. It says, well, Sting put in, I didn't realize that it was the nation has, the U.S. Senate voted to legalize hemp farming across the nation also.
Yeah, that's true.
But
did they not pass something about veterans being able to get it, war veterans being able to get it as well through prescription?
Well, the problem with that is they allowed the veterans to get the cannabis, medicinal cannabis, not CBD oil, medicinal cannabis. Right. But then they said, well, because you're on cannabis, because you're on medicinal cannabis, you cannot have a Second Amendment right. You don't have the right to bear arms. Yeah. They were sneaky about it. Very
right,
sneaky.
exactly. Well, you won't have, with this growing, the farming, hemp farming across the nation, to me, is going to be a mess. Because they're going to put pesticides on that,
of course,
on that product. That's what they're going to do. So let it be, poisoned that way. Just saying.
That's the thing. When you're looking at big industry bringing in the cannabis, that's what you worry about as well.
Yep.
Because they don't care. Obviously, it's going to be all about quantity to them. It's not about quality. So. You can bet your bottom dollar it won't be grew fully organically. I mean, some of the pharmaceutical companies through here just now, what they do to the cannabis before they even... I mean, a lot of them are taking it from the derived cannabis plant, but it's what they do to the plant. They genetically modify it before it's even grew and all the rest of it, and then they grow it with God knows what pesticides and chemicals. And then once they dry out the cannabis, and before they convert it into medicine, they blast it with gamma radiation before it even gets turned into medicine. I mean, they're radiating their cannabis before they want to give it to us. So they just want to keep us sick.
Well, they'll corrupt the plant. They'll poison the plant, and they'll make a lot of money on it, and it will do harm to people. It's not natural.
They have right here synthetic cannabis, which is pharmaceutical. Synthetic cannabis drug trial results in hospitalization and death.
There you go.
I wonder why.
See, this is just another soft genocidal tool. If I can just say for a minute, the history of cannabis, if anybody is interested in really looking into that, what Anslinger did when he was in there, and how they vilified. I think alcohol came first as the first tool to break down the fabric of society. Then they used cannabis to break up society. First, it was against the Hispanics. Then it was the blacks. You got to be careful. It's all made to create war and control from all angles. And you just said it. They want to keep us sick. That's exactly what, and profit from it. How much sicker is that?
But one of the synthetic drugs that they give in the UK, it's a synthetic cannabinoid. It's called Navalone, and basically this drug is prescribed to help people that are going through chemotherapy and radiotherapy with nausea and vomiting. And I mean, one of the side effects of this drug is listed as death. And do you know, it was that blasé the way they done it. Death, one of the side effects. So in our first meeting up at Holyrood, one of the SNP MSPs that was there, Marie Todd, she's a pharmacologist, and basically she was trying to defend them. And she says, but these, they're just the worst case scenario for the side effects, and they're not going to happen. I says, but hold on a minute here. I says, you're giving this drug to people that have been absolutely blasted with chemo and radiotherapy, so their immune system is just completely not there. They don't have it. It's non-existent. So none of these side effects are these people going to get, and she just sat there and couldn't open her mouth about it, because she knows that I was right. You give a drug like that to somebody that's already been blasted with chemo and radiotherapy, that is the side effect that they'll get. They'll die with that. That'll kill them. And that's what they want to give people to control nausea and vomiting, rather than give them a wee bit of THC.
It's ridiculous.
It's no right. It's absolutely no right.
In my healing in the beginning, in the 2.5-hour phone call, I think it was, the healer explained it so wonderfully. She said, we spend our entire life poisoning our body. Then cannabis comes along and has to take everything in layers and, you know, go after the most important stuff first. Diabetes, arthritis, you know, the problem with the feet and the circulation. I forget what they, neuropathy. All these different things, they're man-made. Again, big pharma makes us sick, so you have to quit all that and let the cannabis really work in layers. She told me if I take it long enough, it could regenerate the discs in my back. So it's really it's a commitment. You have to make a long-term commitment to this.
Exactly, because not forgetting as well, if you choose to go down the road of cannabis, right? Obviously, there's something brought you to that line. There's something brought you to that road. So you've already been down the road trying out all the medications that they prescribe to you. So your body's already full of all this poison and toxins, and that's the cannabis's first job, is to get rid of all the toxins out of your body, and that's what it does.
I can feel it too.
Yeah, you can feel it leaving your system. I mean, I'm practically chemical free. I don't take any drugs at all. I don't take. I cheated the other week and took an antihistamine for my hay fever, but I had to. I gave in. But I don't take a paracetamol or anything like that for pain anymore. But the first thing that I see when I see people going on to it for the first time is that's the main thing as you see happening first is the cannabis basically getting rid of all the toxins out of their body and all the poisons and all the chemicals that they've spent years and years putting into it. Right now there's a woman that I'm speaking to just now, and she's been on serious anti-epileptic medication for like 20 odd years now, and she's tried to come off it and she just can't. So she's now using the cannabis, and the cannabis not just helps with the seizures and our epilepsy condition, it also helps with the drug withdrawals, and it also helps the body get rid of all of these toxins, and it starts getting the body back to normal again, balance. It creates the homeostasis in the body that the body needs. But that's its first job. That's what I absolutely it's strenuous.
Yeah, the reason why the pharmaceuticals don't work, and why once you start on a pharmaceutical regimen that you wind up having to get more and more and more, is because with each pill you take, you're ingesting a multitude of synthetic chemicals, and the body, being organic, cannot disperse these chemicals, and so it has to pocket them somewhere. It goes to your bloodstream, and what your body cannot rid, it will try to find a place to put it. It will circulate through the bloodstream until it finds a weak point that won't fight it off, and then it will start depositing these chemicals into your tissues, into your gut, into your colons, your kidneys, wherever. And over time, you have not only received whatever was beneficial in that drug that might have been a symptom relief, because that's all that the pharmaceutical companies do now. There are no cures. But you have also exacerbated, weakened your whole system, leaving it open to a multitude of diseases. And so we get on this like a treadmill to where we're walking, we're doing okay, and then we have to go uphill a little bit more, and then we go uphill a little bit more, and pretty soon we're to a point to where we can't go up that hill anymore because we are so ill and sick. CBD oil does not have any of those side effects. Anything that is taken in its natural form, organic form, and put into the body is either 100% utilized or it is flushed out of the system. It does not pocket. It does not create disease areas, and this is known. I mean, this is known. It's not a secret. The doctors know this, or they are no longer taught this, but it's basic, and yet you have a doctor who is afraid, even after all the evidence is out there, to issue a prescription for a natural organic substance without side effects, proven to cure Instead, he's going to give you a drug that he knows is going to harm you in the long run. Now, what does this say about our health industry? What does this actually say about the people in these positions? It means that they're not in it for you. They're only in it for the amount of money that they can get out of you. And so if we're going to change this paradigm, this is how we do it. By finding the natural remedies that actually do promote health, and having people like you, Bernadette, and you, Karen, and Lynn, and many others that are standing up and making a noise, that are standing up and facing the slings and arrows to make sure that this information gets out. Because it's not easy what you're doing. And I'm sure you've got plenty. You said you got death threats, or people got death threats because they wanted to make profit instead of health. It's not an easy thing to do. And yeah, I mean, how does that make you guys feel to know that you've got something that is true and that is health, and you have people that are standing up against you saying, no, you can't have your health, you must take our toxins? I mean, it must be, I can't imagine having to fight those people on a daily basis and them still not listening.
It's no fun. I mean, I don't listen to them. I carry on and do it anyway. I'm not waiting for anybody to give me permission to do it, but I'm fighting for us, the other people that, that can't fight for themselves. Because there's so many people in this country that are still terrified to come out. They're terrified that they would lose their sickness benefits. They're terrified that the hospital would stop treating them. They're terrified that they would, like Karen, they could come in, the social services come in and take their kids off them. I mean, myself, I went in for surgery a couple of weeks ago. We're talking about, I don't know, about 3 weeks ago now, 4 weeks ago. And I went in to one of the NHS hospitals in Glasgow. And it was quite a big thing that I was going in for surgery, because the last time I went in for surgery, I woke up like this. I was perfectly healthy, and then woke up with my immune system going all over the place and landing up with multiple autoimmune diseases and central nervous system disease. So it was quite a big thing that I was going in for this operation. I was completely honest with the surgeon from start to finish. As soon as I seen him after 6 years, the man saved my life 6 years ago, so we've got a fantastic relationship. So completely honest and upfront about him, and he thought it was fantastic. Congratulated on his success with the campaign, and had a wee chuckle about it. I told him about the oils, the salves, the tinctures. I told him about what's happening in America with the cannabis tampons and the cannabis suppositories and things like that. And he was so interested, because he supports not just medical cannabis but also recreational. He says, there's no point. He says, alcohol does more damage than cannabis ever has. So in his opinion, then it should all be changed. So that was fine. I went for the pre-assessment that you go for the week before surgery, and again it gets to the one bit of the conversation. They ask you what medication you're taking, and I'm completely truthful with everybody, and I told her that I don't take any medication. I medicate only with cannabis, and I was told I couldn't bring it into the hospital, and basically told her it wasn't up for discussion. I don't leave the house without it. It's what I medicate with and have done for 3 years now. And I would need it, not just for when I woke up from the surgery, but for all my other conditions that were going on. So it came the morning of the surgery. I went into hospital. I was seen by the surgeon just to make sure I was still okay to go ahead with it. Then I was seen by the anaesthetist. The anaesthetist also asked me, what medication are you taking? I explained to the anaesthetist that I don't take medication, I medicate with cannabis. She says that's fine. We agreed on the drugs that I would be taking in theatre, and then when I come into recovery, until I woke up, and then I would take it from there myself. That was fine. I was sitting with the gown on, the paper knickers, the stockings, just ready to go minutes before going down, and the student nurse came in to do my final check, which involves checking that you don't have any false teeth in, that you don't have any jewellery on, you don't have any nail polish on, anything like that. But again, I was asked what medication you were taking. So I don't know if I was set up or whether it was just an overzealous student nurse. So I explained to her that I don't take medication, I medicate with cannabis, and she said to me, and do you have any on the premises with you? I says, I do have, it's in a locked safe, and she says, that's fine, and went away. She returned with the charge nurse. who told me I couldn't have the cannabis on the premises, and I told her I wouldn't be getting rid of it. I tried to get into a conversation with her and explain to her why I needed it there. She wasn't interested. Again, I was told I had to get it off the premises. So again, I told her I'm not taking it off the premises. Then she went away, came back with a doctor who came in with an attitude. And again, the same, you have to get that out of here. He threatened to call the police on me because I wanted to show him how safe it was. It was in a locked safe. Wasn't interested, threatened to call the police on me. So I showed him it anyway, and I told him that the police, you know, that if that's the road that he chooses to go down, by all means, but I'm completely honest about it to everybody. And I seen the kind of commotions that it was causing. And my anxiety started kicking in a wee bit because I felt very, very rounded on. Because at this point, you know, there was a full stramash out in the corridor, all the members of staff had congregated round. There was patients walking past to see what all the uproar was. And I felt, you know, Joe, I didn't come in here for this. So I said to the nurse, just get me the forms and I'll sign myself out. So she went away, and I was expecting her to come back with the forms to sign myself out, and she came back with the senior consultant at the hospital. They pulled the curtains round and just barked at me that it was illegal. I had to get my clothes on and I had to leave the hospital. And I was kicked out of the hospital, and my treatment was withdrew, and I've not heard a peep from them again. So this is what we're still going through here in Scotland. I worked for the National Health Service for a number of years, and I've seen them getting brought into prison in handcuffs, rapists, murderers, sex abusers, child abusers. I've seen it all, and I've not once witnessed anybody be treated the way I was treated in that hospital, and all because I had my cannabis with me and I refused to get rid of it.
It wasn't even, it was just cannabis oil you had as well. It wasn't like it was a bit cannabis, it was oil.
No, I wasn't going to be sitting in the corner smoking a fat blunt or anything like that. I had a couple of syringes. I had a couple of syringes of cannabis oil. I had some vegetable glycerine tinctures in different strains, some CBD, some THC, and I had the salve that's made, I make for my psoriasis and my painful joints. So it wasn't like I was going to be sitting in the corner smoking a fat blunt or anything like that. But I was threatened again with the police because I refused to leave at that point. You know, I felt very backed into a corner. So I started contacting all my team and the politicians that are part of the campaign and things like that. And I contacted a reporter. So before they get me out, I had, you know, quite a few people involved. But it was a humiliation at all as well, because obviously, the way he spoke to me, he turned and he walked out in his heels, and one of the patients sitting in the bed across says, well, that was a bit out of order, was it not? And I says, aye, I would say. And it was the way he looked at me like he had stood in better. Total disgust, no conversation, nobody, not one person was prepared to listen to anything that I had to say. They weren't prepared to get into a conversation with me. There was no empathy, nothing, absolutely nothing. Just get your clothes on and get out of here. So
yeah, you were faced with the patriarchal system, and what you felt inside you was almost to the point of having a seizure. That was the apathetic attitude that you were given from the patriarchal system, the doctors and the toxic people that are prescribing sickness instead of what we're trying to work on, which is the matriarchal, which is healing, which is for the people. It's fascinating when you look at it.
Well, apparently I had a meeting with my MP a couple of days later, and the MP was very, very angry that the whole incident took place, because in his opinion, because I was so open and honest with them from start to finish, then there should have been provisions put in place for me to be able to take my cannabis in with me and medicate with it. You know, even if it was done in a don't ask, don't tell policy. If they had told me to keep my mouth shut, I would have kept my mouth shut. Well, no, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have done that. No, that's just a lie. I wouldn't have kept my mouth shut. I don't ever keep my mouth shut about it. I don't see why I should have to keep my mouth shut about it. But do you know what I mean? They could have not asked, but they could have had, they've got wee pods at the side of the bed where they have locked safes, so they could have put my lock safe in their lock safe to make sure it was completely safe. But according to my MP, the people in the hospitals, the doctors and things like that, because of the day and age that we live in, they have the same powers of discretion that Police Scotland do. but they just decided not to use them, and he thinks it was absolutely disgusting that the whole thing transpired. And he was wanting to organise a sit-down meeting with the chief executive of the hospital to come up with a solution on how I could still get my surgery and medicate my cannabis, but they turned it into such a circus act. I can't go back to this hospital now and be that bloody woman that caused all that trouble, you know, because the nurses would come into me in twos, nobody would talk to me, you would constantly be watched, you would constantly be under supervision, and, you know, it's stressful enough going into a hospital for an operation that, you know, could have quite serious consequences for you without having to deal with all that stress as well. So I've just chose not to bother with it just now, kind of keep it to its better.
Okay, I've been asked to please ask you to slow down just a little bit more.
Slow down again. Yep. Sorry.
They are really interested in what you guys are saying. So anyway, I wanted to put in there also, you know, that maybe what we need to do next after you bring change to Scotland regarding these laws against CBD oil and all, maybe and here in the U.S. opening up clinics that deal not with pharmaceutical companies nor with doctors, but with holistic healers and herbalists and things like this, to where you have a choice. You know, the thing of it is that if you can go in and get a cure for a illness that you have, like right now you go to the doctor, you have an illness, he gives you symptom relief, so you have to go back next month and be checked again and then get another prescription for more symptom relief, and on and on and on and on. You have to go back, you have to get another prescription. The thing that CBD oil can do is it can take and cure the issue. So you're not going back every month. So it would definitely be cost effective, more cost effective, and without the need for insurance, actually, to be able to go to a holistic a holistic clinic and be able to get the CBD oil, you know, except for in the cases like with the seizures and stuff where you would have to go back. But I would still think that it would still be much more cost effective than having to go to the hospital clinics and things for seizures and stuff, you know.
We have a homeopathic, I don't know if it's still opened actually, we did have a homeopathic hospital with a centre in Glasgow. Is that still open, Candy, you know?
No idea.
Wait a minute. Yep, it's still going. I mean, they just don't ever offer it. I mean, can you imagine we've got a homeopathic clinic in Glasgow that won't allow you to have cannabis? That just defeats the purpose of even having a homeopathic clinic, doesn't it? Yep, we have got a homeopathic clinic in the Gap Naval campus.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
Well, we have homeopathic clinics here also, but
we actually have homeopathic doctors killed on a regular basis. I think it's up to 200 now. 200
right?
homeopathic and anti-vax doctors that disappear or that shoot themselves in the back of the head twice and that are found floating in a river. You know. Oh yeah.
Well, the homeopathic doctors here too are heavily regulated.
Right.
And it's not cost effective because the individual who needs to be treated is the one who has to pay for that extra cost of regulation and stuff. So it's not cost effective here for most people. There are some insurances that will actually allow homeopathic, but you have to get a regular doctor to sign off on it. You know,
I'm just sitting here looking at the list of things that they do, and I'm actually quite surprised at all of this. Right, they've got a holistic day service, acupuncture, allergy service, art therapy, Bowen therapy, clinical hypnosis, counselling, holistic chronic fatigue syndrome and ME service, homeopathy, mindfulness, mistletoe therapy, and music therapy. I didn't know all of it. Have you never heard of mistletoe therapy?
Never heard of that.
You need to get in touch with these people.
I think I do.
What is it called? I didn't hear that therapy. What was it called?
Mistletoe therapy.
I still didn't get the word.
Mistletoe.
Oh, mistletoe. Yeah, my sister was on mistletoe therapy.
Yep.
What is that?
Yeah, well, it's a plant. The mistletoe is it's a plant that grows wild.
Trees. It grows
It's a bush. Yeah, it grows everywhere, but it was used
How
as
do they use
a
it for
medicine.
therapy?
Well, I think they probably make an infusion of it, just like many other plants. They make an infusion of it, and then she was injected with it. There was a homeopathic doctor south of here, several miles south of here, who was helping people with cancer with natural and alternatives, and he was using the mistletoe therapy.
Did your sister get a result for it?
Well, my sister had many different things that we were doing for her. One of them was that, but also the Ojibwe medicine, which consists of 4 natural herbs that I think really helped her live an additional 10 years because she was filled with cancer, and they told her didn't have much longer to live. And I do believe using these various things really did help her, prolonged her life. So yeah, I'll put this a link in here for the mistletoe. I'm trying to find a really good one here. It's history, meaning, and traditions. Well, I'll find that for you. It's an English. Mistletoe is the English common name for the most obligate hemiparasitic plant in the particular order where it grows. Yeah, it has little berries on it, white berries. Or red berries.
We usually just kiss under it here in Scotland. I don't know about in America.
Well, we do the same thing. Yeah. We do the same thing here. It's a very ancient tradition, right? Why do people kiss under the mistletoe? Yeah, it's not just for kissing though. It's a medicine, really. I'm just looking for something that I could send into. Yeah, healing. Mistletoe healing. But there's other natural medicines. The Ojibwe have, there was this grandmother, Longboat, actually her name was. I received the 4 herbs many, many years ago that they used. And there was a nurse. The Ojibwe people live way up in Canada. And there was a nurse who had been diagnosed with terminal cancer. She worked in one of the hospitals up there in Canada. And she had heard about this Ojibwe grandmother, that she was helping people, healing people with cancers. And she went to her, and she started on this program using these 4 herbs. You boil them down, you make a tea, basically, out of it. And those medicines healed her, and of course, because she was a nurse, she knew many of the doctors in that hospital who were really shocked and stunned and wanted to know what happened. How did she? What happened to her? What did she do? You know? And she told them, and it basically now it became this sensational healing property here that it's Essiac. It's called Essiac tea. And I'm just looking for you what it is here. It's ESSIAC. It has sheep sorrel. I don't know if some of these would be familiar to you. Have you ever heard of sheep soil?
No, I've not heard of that.
Sorrel, let me see. Sheep sorrel root.
Sheep sorrel.
Right. Sorrel, yeah. Yeah. And it's I'm looking for the exact recipe here. Essiac tea and the herbs. All right, let me see. Yeah, it's quite amazing. So now some people say originally it was 4 herbs. That's what I received from the grandmother. and now people are adding other herbs. I don't know if that's what that's doing, but I'm sorry, I'm still having trouble finding the exact. So go on and talk, and I'll give you.
Well, what really helped me was the chaga root.
Oh yes, that's another one.
And I got that from Canada, and that really combined with the cannabis oil that I'm taking, it really helped a lot, and it's very, very good. Among other things. Like,
here it is, burdock root, which we have growing right here in our backyard.
Is awesome, yeah.
Yep. Slippery elm inner bark. In other words, the inner bark of the slippery elm, which is a tree. Sheep sorrel and Indian rhubarb root. Yes. So this is just these herbs alone, and I'll pop that in.
What did the doctors say? What did the doctors?
Well, they went and talked. Well, I guess they went and talked to the grandmother and the people, and well, from there, the nurse started helping other people with this formula, and then her son, after she died,
she was fired, and then she got
no,
I'm just kidding.
No, I don't know, but that was in Canada. You know, it's interesting because do you know that Canada is? It's very strange. Canada, you cannot buy or get hydrogen peroxide. It's against the law, which is another healing property.
I have a question from chat, and it says, "Has Bernie considered a people's warrant against those who are found to be needing to be questioned regarding things, detained, and questioned about A, B, or C?"
Sorry, could you read that again?
Okay. Am I too fast? No, I'm just kidding.
You were just a wee bit too quick over there.
Has Bernie considered a people's warrant against those who are found to be needing to be questioned regarding things, like detained and questioned about A, B, or C?
Oh, listen, I've thought about that many times. We did here in Scotland, it would come down to what's called a judicial review. We did look to go down the legal route. We did employ the services of a legal team. We actually have them paid on retainer just now. She's the highest graded human rights solicitor in the country, and she comes with a team of really, really experienced solicitors. She recruited a QC for us, and the QC that there was 3 QCs kind of a fighting over it. So we had our pick of QCs as well, and we picked somebody with 20 years experience with the Crown Office. She had a lot of experience prosecuting the likes of serial killers and murderers and rapists and things, but because she worked with the Crown Office, that's the type of woman that we were looking for. The only thing is that they don't come cheap, and it would take a lot of money to go down that route. We will if we have to. We will do the fundraising if we have to. Right now, last year, myself and Lynn, we had put that much work into, getting the meetings at Holyrood and things like that. It really, really affected our health so badly. We had to take 6 months out, the two is, and this was just a couple of months ago. This is us just getting back into the swing of it. We have thought about it, but it's going to involve a lot of work. When right now we're hoping that we don't have to, because it's the pendulum has started swinging in our direction, and the momentum started gathering. It is an option for us. We do have a legal team that is quite prepared to do it, but obviously this legal team won't paid. Like anything else, it's all going to come down to money. But the option is definitely there for us. If we don't get what we're asking for, demanding for, we shouldn't even be asking for it. You feel like a beggar standing before somebody, please can I have it? But the option is definitely there for us. It definitely is there for us, and there are people willing to represent us on it.
Well, Gaz says, get 100 signatures and put a people's warrant in front of your lawyers and see what the outcome would be. He says, seriously, if the case is proven, then no need to pay. The Crown would pay. So.
Tell Gaz I'll be giving him a wee call tomorrow to talk about this further.
Okay, Gaz, You've just been told.
I'll phone you tomorrow, guys. I hope you're well.
Karen.
Hi.
In the hi there. In the fight that the show has really been so awesome because rarely ever do we sit back here and say, "Ooh, I want to ask," But anyway, and you've been so silent. But I want to know your son now. Is he going to, like, we have kindergarten here? I don't know if it's the same.
Oh,
thing,
school. Yeah.
Okay.
He started primary school, and he started last August, and from August to November he was going, and then when the seizure started getting really, really bad, I would say the last 5 months he's only really been at school for 3 weeks. And the last couple of weeks, he's really only been in for a couple of hours a day because he falls asleep. I've had to go and pick him up because he falls asleep. And I think that's due to all the medication he's on.
Right. Have you gotten any flack from the school about...
No, the school have been really supportive actually. They just want him to get better, the same as what we do.
Right. That's good to hear. Because I know here there's these schools here are adamant about following government suggestions and stuff because they get so much money from the federal government here to be able to teach the government programs. A lot of people have blowback whenever they try to like here it's vaccinations. Or if your child acts up, the school has a recommendation to put your child on. Yes, and if you don't, they can report you to the authorities, the Child Protection Services, who will come out to your house. And if they deem it necessary, they will force you to put your child on drugs, or they will put your child in foster care.
That's horrific.
Me.
Yeah, so it's good to hear that you have a supportive education system. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, they are really good.
I have another question: is how do you cope with the side effects of taking oil? He says, seriously, I can take CBD oil, okay, but THC I can't cope with, getting stoned heavily. Well, I think that there's a difference, and maybe you guys, these are for newcomers that came into the chat, can explain the difference between the CBD oil and the hemp oil, the two different, because he might be buying, like we were talking about, improperly produced oil. Yeah.
If he can't cope with the high concentration THC oil, that's because THC is very, very psychoactive, and it depends on the strength of the THC and the concentration that you're taking in your oils. CBD is non-psychoactive, but it also counteracts the psychoactive effects of THC. So, if you are taking THC oil that you find you can't cope with all the severe stone that it gives you, then if you add some CBD into that, then the CBD will counteract. It will help counteract any of the psychoactive effects, and it will bring you back down again. It's absolutely fantastic. That would be my advice for that one would be to take the two of them together, and you'll feel that you'll be able to cope with the THC a lot better because the body's getting the whole plant entourage as well. But it's also the CBD will help protect your brain, and it helps counteract the psychoactive effects.
Very good, very good. Good information. Sting says Irish Stephen is due to be in Glasgow court next month. One of the charges is carrying cannabis, and the court is still not calling it trial because when we attend court, we ask them to arrest the fake queen. This allows us to use the oil safely. So there you go. There's another out.
She's not my queen either.
Those thousands of sealed indictments we're looking at, sis?
Yeah.
Someone said the queen was on there.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Really?
Yeah. If anybody's listening and wants to know about that, all we have to do is tell them that their actual name is Saxe Coburg Gotha, and they're Prussian. They're not even English, and they changed their name to Windsor in 1917 to make it look good, to fake that, to hide it. So we've been lied to from birth about absolutely everything.
Listen, the biggest benefit fraudulent people that claim anything in this country, they go on about all the people that fraudulently claim benefits in this country. They're the biggest benefit fraudsters, a lot of them. Every single one of them. Oh, don't even get me started in the royal family. Oh, well. We'll be here for another 3 hours.
Well, we've got about 15 minutes left, and then and I do want to give a shout out to Wolf Spirit Radio for simulcasting us. We love you guys, and thank you so much. I hope you have garnered a lot of information out here from this show, but we're going to get some website links for you, and if you can, make it to peopleforpeopleradio.ning or peopleforpeople.ning.com, and we'll have a link set up for you either in chat or maybe Gaz can make us a special little place on there where we can put your links where people can come and get more information. And you see, the thing of it is that we can follow you in you're paving the way, right? You're
so
clearing
exciting.
the path, and so when you finally get to the end point where we have finally seen that it's been opened up and you know the way, then we can copy you, we can.
Brilliant.
And yeah, so it's important that we keep up and keep in touch with you. And, there's no problem with having worldwide support for what you're doing for the people of the world, all of us, because this is an interest and a benefit to everyone. This does not just affect one country. So, the more people, the better. But
I'm going to make a confession.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a wee confession. I've got a wee bit of prior knowledge to all of this. I was away seeing a world-renowned psychic just a couple of weeks ago, and she told me we get pro-cannabis legislation. It's just a matter of time. She also told me that Scotland get their independence as well. So, I've got all this inside knowledge. I'm so confident about it.
Well, I think that also I want to let everybody, before I get too carried on, I want to let everybody know coming up after the show we have Lizzie and Grizz, and beautiful, wonderful Lizzie who brings the love, who brings the coming together. You got to hear her show. It's hard to describe it. It's just love and healing. But anyway.
There's a remaining question here from Jimmy, asking in the chat. He wants you to confirm that if he takes THC, then follow up immediately with CBD, that will stop him from getting stoned.
Yes, it will help counteract the psychoactive effects. He'll still feel very relaxed and very chilled, but he won't he won't be sticking to the ceiling, and it won't be a horrible, horrible feeling. But the CBD counteracts the psychoactive effects of the THC. It helps protect the brain and things. So yes, that's what I do, and that's what I advise everybody to do. And it's all there researched and documented. So even if he just wants to get into Google and just Google it just to make sure for his own assurances, it's all there. But that's the way to do it. If you counteract the THC with the CBD, it helps very much when you have to take a high concentration THC, because a lot of people can't cope with it. When you look at people that haven't medicated with cannabis before and they have to take a cancer treatment and they have to take as much as a high concentration THC as possible. I'm sorry, my dog's groaning in the background here. Would you be quiet? Sometimes it's too much for them. He's not even listening to me, he's just carrying on. Sometimes it's too strong for them, and I've heard a lot of people stop and taking it because they said, I didn't like the feeling of being stoned. And my answer to that is, what would you rather be, stoned or dead?
Yeah.
So
Right.
you put the CBD into it, and that'll help take away all that horrible bad feeling. Some people really like that feeling, some people don't. But to take that away if you don't like it, you just add CBD into the mix, and that'll help counteract the psychoactive effects.
Okay.
And it'll make it much more pleasant for you.
Okay, I have to also let everybody know that if you like this show, if you got a lot out of this show, which I know you did, there is also another show that was done on May 14th, and you can find that on YouTube at People for People, the People for People channel on YouTube. And if you go there, please support us, because Gaz's invisible donate button on the right of the chat doesn't work. I can't. You click it and nothing happens. I'm just saying. So if you go to YouTube and you join or you subscribe and you thumbs up, man, that works even better. At least those buttons work. So go there and try that. And Bernadette, I'll send you the link, because you're up there. Our last interview is up there with you and Lynn.
Right.
And also, I need to have you guys on it again next month. Me and Barb do. I'm speaking for Barb, but I know she like me.
Absolutely.
We want to keep up with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if Lynn
because
can join us,
Yeah, what you're talking about, the things unfolding for you over there are really exciting, and we want to keep in touch to know how everything's going for you, for both of you, and Bernadette as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
hopefully I'll be away at Holland, and I'll be back, and my son will have his medical cannabis, and I won't be in jail.
Yay!
Wonderful.
That's beautiful. Now,
They won't be putting you in jail, I can assure you. They'll have to get past all of us first.
So how long are you going to be in Holland?
I'm not sure. We're fundraising at the moment, and it just depends how much money we have to basically stay over there. So,
is there any way that people, if they want to, offer some help or donation? Do you have a site?
Yeah,
if you could post those links in the chat.
I will. I'll do it. It's Just Giving, and it's Karen Murray Gray. I'm just going to try and do this.
And while she's at that, Bernadette, if you could put a link in there for your web page.
Right. Okay.
There, that's it done.
All righty.
Okay. Very excellent.
Okay.
All right.
Wonderful.
I'll pop that in too.
Right. My links are on my other phone, and I'm not very technical, so I'm going to have to, get them and then put them up. I'll send them over to you. I'll get the other phone and I'll send them over to you. I'll send the links for the protest for the day for All Under One Banner and Hope Over Fear rally. And hopefully I can get you some links sent over as well at the time for the live session, for it to be live streamed as well on the 16th. I've got all that organised for you this week as well. I'll speak to the committee at the Hope Over Fear rally, people that are organising it. I'll speak to them this week, and we'll get you sorted out with a link so that you can live stream it as well.
Okay,
Great.
Wonderful. And I just traded links with you for our YouTube channel and also for our website, so you guys can come in there. There's a lot of people who have interest here in what you're doing and in learning. You're so full of information, Bernadette. It's amazing. I didn't know anything about those tampons, and you blew half the chat away with that, too. You're like, what?
Well, listen, see what they're doing for women that can get them. I mean, it's fabulous. There's no more period tramps.
So they're making them already? Those are available already?
Yep,
Wow. So not in this country, because recently a young woman died from toxic syndrome by using a tampon, and this is happening a lot. So I don't know what that's.
At one point, I was going to use the cannabis oil that I'm getting, and going to get little suppositories and putting the daily dose in the suppository and doing it that way before you go to sleep. For prostate cancer, I mean that goes directly up to the colon, right?
Yep.
Right.
So,
with the tampons, I
but,
think it's with the tampons, with the toxic shock syndrome and things like that. Even with tampons are causing us cancer. Tampons
Yes.
are, and
yeah,
all
what
sorts
they're made of. Yes.
things. Yep, that's
Imagine that, you know?
Yeah,
Imagine that.
exactly.
But can you imagine being able to use a nice organic tampon that's loaded with cannabis? Well, not that I need them anymore, but you know, back in the day when I did need them, that would have just been my dream come true.
She's got to slow down again. She's got to slow down
sorry,
again.
I apologise. Then I was getting excited about something else. I get quicker, the more excited I get. But the possibilities are just absolutely endless with this plant, and they're just going to need to let us go on with it and explore these possibilities, because right now it's criminal what they're doing, keeping it from us in every aspect.
I don't understand. I'm confused too.
I'm confused too.
Gaz, what do you mean?
Yeah, I think he's very confused.
How do they stay lit? Cannabis.
He's being a wise guy, and we're talking something very serious here now, my friend out there.
Come on, children.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Is he being a man?
The guys,
Is he just-
the guys are getting
The guys are getting antsy now.
Listen,
Yeah.
guys, it's a natural thing. Every woman on the planet has a period at some point in their life. Just be lucky and thankful that you don't get them.
Well, I have
Oh
a
my
whole
goodness.
I have a whole show about that. So,
Let's have a
I was
period.
going to say the same thing.
and it's we won't have time now, but
Right, we've got about 3 minutes left. It's so fun having you on, you know?
Oh, thanks, very
Gosh, you just make me smile. I love it. And you're
Even my
you're-
dog is still in the background. I don't know if you can hear my dog plodding about in the background here. He's rolling about having a right good groan to himself.
Oh.
I can't hear him at all.
God, it's because he lies there like an old man. He lies on his back and his wee teddy bear, groaning away. And that's only because I'm not giving him attention now, because that's been 2 hours that I've not spoke to him for.
My little guy Spook, when he comes across the floor, it sounds like a herd of elephants. You know, I mean, it's like he's deafening, but
disconnected us the other day.
yeah, he did. No, that was Newbert. That was
that was
the
Newbert.
cat. Yeah.
Okay.
Karen's got a big Newfoundland dog. It's like the size of a pony.
Yeah, she's massive, but she's lovely.
Aw.
She's furry.
Yes, poor Spookers. He's we call him Spook because he's spooked by everything.
Oh.
But, yeah, he's a border collie, Australian Shepherd mix, and he likes to
Right.
herd the kids, you know, and all the kids will be outside in the yard playing, and if one of them runs off screaming, like playing tag or something, it drives him crazy, like, oh my gosh, he left the flock, you know. Goes out there and tries to herd him back. But, yeah, gotta love him. Anyway. But we are...
The natives are getting restless out there.
Yeah, I see that.
That was getting chucked off.
They only have how many hours of a complete focus, and then they start going out there like whack-a-doodle.
The tampons through them.
I think so. They can't get over it. They're
You know, I'm going to find a link and put it up for you.
Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for coming on.
No worries. Thank you again for having us. It's been
Yeah,
fun
thanks very
again.
much.
Yes, and Karen, I hope that you can get things taken care of and join us next month. And hopefully
Yeah,
Lynn
I'd
will
love
be there,
that.
too.
Thank you.
That would be
send
wonderful.
you a lot of love and prayers. You know,
Thank you.
for you, your son, everyone there. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
We have Luca heavy breathing back there.
No, that's just because I'm listening to the women talk.
Oh, wait a second now.
Nothing to do with the tampons, right?
Don't even go there. He's listening to the women talk. That's why he's heavy breathing. Okay, there you go.
Well, she said heavy breathing. I didn't.
We did. You
I
are
just wanted
heavy.
to. I just wanted to thank our guest first of all, and to remind her that, like her government, our government here has a long history of taking children away. So, welcome to the club. I always have to take notes with my mic muted when I talk with these wonderful grandmothers because they go so fast. They talk about so much that I have to sit there on mute and, get a pain in my wrist because I'm trying to keep up. But I'm hearing a lot of your voice. I'm hearing a lot of the word sovereignty in your voice, and we wanted to thank you and congratulate you for pushing that, because sovereignty does not accept government authority, and that's what was so beautiful with the Native Americans when the Europeans came here. No, we're not going to bow down to your God. We have one. We don't need your help. Thank you very much. So it's an honor to be a part of a show where you hear somebody talking about the sovereignty of the people. It's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We hold
Good
the power.
one. Yeah.
Always have, always will. And
That's
with
right.
that being said, sis, it is time, isn't it?
It's time.
It went so fast.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
We just got started, right? You feel like
Right.
you just got started. Yeah, but I want to thank everybody on the chat for being here with us today and supporting these two beautiful women and what they're doing. And to me, I just wanted to say that this timeline is about the return of the sacred feminine, and the women leading the way. And our men standing side by side with us in harmony and balance, and this is what I see, happening in this journey that the two of you and Bernadette are taking together. And you're not only making a difference and change over there, but for everyone, for the whole world, really. And this is very powerful, and I just want to thank you for that, Pilamaya.
Aho.
Aho. And we're right there with you. We are there with you. And our prayers and every loving, caring frequency and vibration that we can send your way is coming your way. And
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. And Karen, I hope all the best for you and for Murray, and look so forward to speaking with you again next month to find out the wonderful changes that are going to take place. So with that being said,
Thank you.
yes, I want to say thank you again to Wolf Spirit Radio for simulcasting us, and I hope that we didn't get a little too silly for you there. But, Bernadette does that to me, I just got to say. Anyway, coming up is Grizz and Lizzie, so please stay tuned, and we'll see you on the other side. Love to each and every one of you. And we'll be here next week, same time, same place. See ya.